2025 Indian PowerPlus build we built for the Indian Ford Series. My name is Joe. I was a part of this build and we're going to go over the bike today. We've got a lot of cool parts on this bike, a lot of things that make it the custom bike that it is, and at the same time, a lot of cool things coming to market. So for starters, the cockpit is one of the most important parts of the bike. If you're not comfortable on your bike, you're less safe, you're not capable to react and be in control, ergonomics get you there. We started with the Heartluck riser base. We wanted a little bit more aggressive positioning. We have a shorty bar mount that brings the bar down, and we have a shorter bar than we usually see on these other bikes. This is our KR low bar in thermal gold. It's a lot narrower than a general Moto bar, but we think it works pretty well. Couple that with our first ever Kraus hand controls, adjustable hand control on the right side. Clutch cable bolts right into this. This will eventually be available for the Indian models. We're also running Carry Hart's Hardlook grips with ODI. Got a really cool trick master cylinder that we also did for this bike to really tie up the whole ergonomic cockpit area. This is our collaborated seat design with Saddlemen. We've brought the rider up and forward closer onto the bike to get them on the bike. It really fits the aesthetic of this long rounded fender here, and it has this nice cut that kind of rounds itself back up into the tank. It really is a complementary seat for the overall bike's design. It fits me very well. I like where I am positioned on it. I think it's fantastic. The floorboards have a lot of versatility. They have a lot of grip. They're hard mounted. They have a really nice kick up here. It gives you a little bit of range to feel the board out when you're riding the bike. This brake pedal is awesome because it's got two axes that each of these components can rotate about, and then you can bring it closer, higher, lower. Overall, the pedal fits very well and it fits my foot exactly where I want it to. And we'll have that available for Challenger, Chieftain, other touring models as well. In addition to these Maxley floorboards, we have Maxley mini boards, which we've had for quite some time, but we now have passenger peg mounts, which take some of the cast material away that we're used to seeing. We haven't changed the position. We've just made something to kind of complement all the CNC billet components that make them what they are. On this bike, we fit a set of FF525 Öhlins forks in the front. Our low profile spoke hardware. These are super tight and flush and they fit just above the rotor, which look great. When it came to wheels, there's one company that we've worked with for 15 years, BST and Brock's both. They do a fantastic job. Carbon fiber wheels are kind of a no-brainer. Once you use them, it's really hard to use another wheel. Carbon fiber wheels are a great way to reduce a ton of unsprung weight and make the bike way more responsive on the road. These do an amazing job. We also have some super trick brake lines from Spiegler. We have our Kraus Caliper RTX8 with performance brake pads inside. This caliper has a finned inner half, 5 structural anchors bridging both caliper halves. Super rigid, they're super strong, they're great with heat dissipation. The reception of them has been fantastic. They work really well with this bike. A couple little tidbits of carbon on here, and this is one of those pieces. This is a DTF, a carbon front fender. We're also using Klockwerks windscreen here. We did a yellow tint on the background to give it just a little bit more continuity with some of the other gold accents that are on the bike. Jay at Fab28 did a really cool job doing a custom exhaust for us. Jay does a fantastic job. All of his stuff is made here in the US. He's really come through on a bunch of really cool builds recently and we're big fans of his work. For lighting, we went with Denali. Denali's been super cool to us. This is a D14 headlight that they have. And then we did some pretty cool stuff to get this D4 marker headlight turn signal combination to work. We made a mount here that mounts into the original side marker light, and then we coupled it with their U-bracket. For the tail of the bike, we changed quite a bit of things. If you look at an OEM Indian touring model, the fender comes out much farther, and so do the bags. And we really wanted to condense this up, really change the aesthetic and then the stance of the bike. At first glance, we would all admit that this is a very complete, very normal looking tail from Indian, but the more that you study it, the more that little details may come out. This is a super complex billet component. It took quite a bit of machining time and a very large block of material, but we really wanted to finish this end of this fender, and we feel like this came out really well. It has a really challenging slot that we were able to machine, but we got it to work. Another super overlooked component that is super interesting is this whole bag support in between the bag and the fender. Also a custom one-off component here. It actually brings the bags forward 2 inches, even raise them up just a little bit. It's also tucked in. The bags are closer to the bike than they were prior. These are aftermarket taillights, and usually they're side markers, but we converted them into work as taillights. We also converted this to chain drive. This is a Barnstorm chain drive system. We also polished up the swing arm. We wanted to have just a few elements of raw aluminum material coming out of the bike. There's just enough elements to let you know that there is some raw material on the bike and aluminum that would have had to have been machined. Product we're pretty proud of here is a very large component. This is a bag latch. This bag cover just replaces the Indian OEM one, and we're pretty sure we'll have that one in the market soon. Some complementary design features. We changed the color of this. We added some slots here. Now that it's a chain, we wanted to highlight that. We also did these tank badges here. They're fully polished and lasered. Products I'm pretty excited for. This charcoal cover delete. There's generally a charcoal canister right here. This kind of lightens up this area quite a bit. Another product I'm pretty excited about is this Coil relocation mount. It takes what was once covered from the factory and puts them a little bit more on display, and aesthetically brings out the features of the Coil pack. And then last but not least, we have derby cover that will probably be available in the future, but specially lasered for Cody Garbrandt. To match the front RTX8 calipers, we have a matching third rear RTX8 caliper coupled with our 108mm Kraus Caliper radial mount. We really wanted to make a high-performance bagger in terms of an Indian model, and I think we did that here. The bike has the right stance, has the right performance, feels good, looks good, it's super aggressive, it's super fun to ride. There's a lot of elements that really bring this thing together. We wanted a little bit of race, we wanted a little bit of design, we wanted a little bit of aggressiveness. When you buy a new Indian, they're really good bikes. They fit well, they have good power, they have radial front brakes, they have inverted forks, focus on a couple more touches and a couple more aesthetics, and we took what we think is a really good platform and we added some highlights to it. It's been a good opportunity for us, and we're excited to get a lot of these parts to you and the rest of the market.